back. It's going to be match number 4 of day 2 in week number 2 of the NACL, the Salt League. I'm Optimus Tom, joined by EGAD. Period.
Period.
Still getting so used to it for calling you EGAD or feed for so long. But with EGAD going to be a new match here between the undefeated Team Coast and to be determined who are definitely in the neighborhood for a win. Unfortunately, there was a rules violation, and they wound up actually getting a loss against Napkins in Disguise rather than getting the win in the matchup. So you guys can read more about that on the website at naclesports.com after the match. So, but until then, they're definitely going to be on the hunt for a win here because they're definitely in a tough division.
Yeah, and TBD's already qualified for that relegation tournament that's going to be coming in very soon. And they want to show that they're good, and they want to take down Team Coast here. Team Coast is in relegation. They want to make sure they have a secured spot in LCS. So Coast has a lot to prove, and TBD have a lot to prove being qualified for the relegation series. And with Coast being in the relegation series, they both need to step up their game.
Yeah, this could definitely be a preview into the future of a potential who gets to move back into or move into LCS kind of situation. And both these teams pretty much with a good read upon one another. Riven, Aatrox, and Zed being banned out, but they've left Jarvan completely open for Nintendo Dex, who's basically renamed to only Jarvan by some of the junglers in the scene. But Gragas casted in Zyra, the support coming away from Bubadub, and 2 direct bans already towards Arthalon.
Yeah, his Nidalee's still available to him. We've seen him do some pretty good things with that, especially 2v1ing, which is very impressive. But either way, we do see Lee Sin get picked up here, and Broken Shard being on the lineup for TBD now is going to be playing from the EU server, I believe. He's not even anywhere near the USA yet, but he should be coming over fairly soon. We'll see. But maybe that's going to be his jungle Lee Sin, or it could be another top lane Lee Sin for Westrise. He's known for playing those assassin-esque top laners. While the side of Team Coast pick up their AD carry for Mashme, which is going to be Caitlyn, and maybe Nintendo Dex's jungle Elise.
Ooh, that would be something very interesting. It wouldn't be only Jarvan then, and he'd be switching towards Elise. It could potentially be top lane, though, for Zion Spartan. We've seen that previously, or maybe even daydreaming, reviving his old support Elise, although that's kind of fallen out of favor more recently as we've seen countless amounts of support Annie kind of come and fill that void that's been left. But Lee Sin definitely going to be going over to Broken Shard. We've seen him do in the past some very devious things, some very dangerous things with that Lee Sin, and not necessarily knowing Broken Shard's champion pool could be something that winds up hurting Team Coast. He has let that slide through.
Yeah, and now we do have the bot lane being picked up for TBD here. They picked up Son of Varus, so a very high CC bot lane. They will have the Crescendo and Chain of Corruption to use at any moment in that level 6 stage. And also a very safe lane. They'll have a nice sustain. They'll have a nice poke as well with the Piercing Arrow, as well as the Power Chords and the Hymn of Valor, I believe it is called, for the Q damaging ability, as well as the Aura that gives him some nice AP and some nice AD. But to counteract that, we could see support Fiddlesticks for Daydreaming, which is by far one of my most favorite supports to play in solo queue. A 3-second fear is just so hard to deal with. Yeah,
support Fiddlesticks is definitely something that, if you want to talk about a lot of crowd control coming out of Sauna and Varus at level 6, well, support Fiddlesticks has a lot of crowd control coming out at level 1 or 2 when he has the Fear and the Dark Wind. Combination of the Fear and the Silence definitely shuts down a lot of combinations and forces them to kind of walk away from one another, which is another thing that he really causes to happen, is they could position themselves for ganks just by having that Fiddlesticks Dark Wind separate the 2 lanes. But having Fiddlesticks and Caitlyn is also another very high range lane, whereas Sona may have to get a little bit closer if she wants to maybe put down some wards or maybe poke and prod with those power chord harassments. Fiddlesticks can fear her when she steps up, and of course Caitlyn's gonna be able to follow up with some free harassment. But they have left open Jax to that top lane here from Zion Spartan, and that's kind of been, I don't want to say it's been banned out every game so far today, but it definitely got the ban look once or twice before.
Yeah, and Jax for Zion Spartan has been something that nobody's really been able to answer. As you've seen, they're 5-0. No one's been able to take down that Jax lane or shut it down efficiently enough to where he was just not a split-pushing monster. And then when he came into the 5v5 fight, it was just one-sided. Coast would just completely go right through the entire team, whoever they were facing at that point. And his Jax, Blade of the Rune King, Trinity Force, Randoins, just going right through the whole team. That speed boost, as well as the percentage damage coming from the Blade of the Rune King, and then the Sheen and Phage stack. The Sheen and Scene proc, and then the Phage active, and the passive is just so strong. But for the side of TBD, they're going to look to pick up that Fizz, and then Jarvan for most likely Broken Shard in the jungle.
Yeah, Broken Shard winds up taking Jarvan into the jungle. It's going to be Westrice Lee Sin, which is Very similar to Napkins of the Skies, who we just saw in the previous game. Lee Sin is a champion that can go into a double threat combination here from the side of TBD. So I'm really interested to see what the mid lane pick is going to be for Team Coast. We've seen Shifter really favor that LeBlanc and things that would get countered out very heavily by Fizz, but that Ahri is left open, which they're hovering over right now. And that really winds up going down into more of a skill kind of based matchup. They could both wind up assassinating each other, especially at level 6. However, Ahri has ways to dodge Fizz ultimate, and Fizz has ways to dodge Ahri charm. So it's kind of about if one lands and the other one doesn't, that lane can kind of go in their favor just based off that.
Also, if the DFG comes out and he does do that Playful Trickster, it will be going completely null and void and not connect with him. So that's another high-level mechanic that you can use, but it's really hard to pull off, especially with timings, because usually they'll be looking for the Playful Trickster to be down, and it's just a whole mind game with the mid lane, especially when you're doing someone who can go invulnerable for like a second or two and then just come back down as the Playful Trickster is. But either way, both these comps are looking really strong, and if Robert X. Lee doesn't go cleanse, that Fiddlesticks will be 100% effective 100% of the time.
Yeah, Fiddlestick support with the fear and the silence we've mentioned before. If you don't run cleanse, you're gonna have a bad time, especially when you're gonna be getting ganked by someone like Elise who could come in with a cocoon or an Ahri charm, or anything coming out from the side of Team Coast could really lock up Robert X. Lee. And I'm very surprised to see him actually defaulting to that Varus. For a very long time, he personally considered Varus to be his weakest AD carry in the pool of many AD carries that he ran. So he's kind of picking it up here to go hand in hand with a lot of crowd control they have and a decent amount of team fight potential. Even the Fizz with the Chum the Water is going to come in for some AoE effect. But Team Coast, they have a lot of pick potential. And of course, late game Jax, if he decides to join up in a team fight, he can clean house. If he decides to split push, he does that extremely well as well.
Yeah, and we do see the cleanse coming in for Robert X. Lee as the summoner blockers do get removed here. Ignite for support Fiddlesticks. So I've seen some variations from support Fiddlesticks. I like to go Flash Heal, but Flash Ignite allows for you to get a nice kill in lane as well as mitigate some of the healing coming out from that Sona, so it could play a huge role there. And yeah, just that Dark Wind, the RNG that you can have with it is phenomenal. If you get the right bounces, your lane is just one. If you catch them, if you catch Robert X. Lee and Bubba together, those bounces are going to hurt so high, so early in the game. And she won't even be able to heal it, and you take completely control. And with Caitlyn Fiddlesticks, you could shove the lane so easily with the Fiddlesticks, Crows, and Piltover Peacemakers.
Well, while you guys are trying to calculate just how much damage support Fiddlesticks actually does, don't forget to head on over and show some love to our sponsors below the stream right there, such as Loot Crate, the monthly gear and swag club for those that live the gamer lifestyle, much like everybody out there in Twitch chat, hashtag Kappa. For the best new gear, snacks, toys, hardware, art, and even more every single month. Check out Loot Crate, and don't forget that by using the referral link below the stream and signing up, you're directly supporting us here at the Salt League NACL.
Yeah, and with that, we're going to go to some music, and when we come back, we will be back with game number 4 of tonight. It's going to be TBD taking on Team Coast, so sit tight and enjoy.
All right, everybody, we are in game live for week 2, day 2, match number 4. A little of an extended day here at the NACL, the Salt League. It's going to be TBD, to be determined on the blue side, taking on the undefeated Team Coast over here wearing the red trunks. And already we see Team Coast grouping up for a little bit of Tora Day enemy side of the jungle here at the beginning of the game, Egad.
Yeah, and if you guys follow Load of Mortars, he just tweeted out that they've never been beaten so badly in a scrim before by Team Coast. And Team Coast is looking on top of their form, as you see, 5-0. They're looking to aggress towards the red side here. Robert X. Lee was showing himself in mid lane to see where they were going if they were to come down mid. But they might be looking for a charm. They might be looking for a cocoon and a stun from that Jax, being Zion Spartan. They throw out another Spiderling to scout out. It will spot out that J4. They will ping. And they're looking to just get some deep red wards right now.
Yeah, they just want to get wards on this side. They're taking a lot of poke coming out from the combination of that Jarvan flag as well as the piercing arrow from Robert Lee's Varus. So all this deep warding might wind up coming back to bite them a little bit, but they are just going to wind up recalling safely. They put the ward extremely far deep in the enemy jungle, and they're just going to have a lot of vision. But on the flip side, we did see Bubba doing the exact same thing with 2 wards on the opponent's side by the red buff. So it's kind of just a bit of a trade of vision and information at level 1.
Yeah, and They will know when Broken Shard does go for that red buff. They will know if he's actually going to look to counter invade right now, which is what he's going to do. Arthalon and Westeros are leading the way. Arthalon just keeping some nice vision in that middle brush to see if anybody comes. But this is going to be a successful red steal from the side of TBD, while Nintendo X and Coast are going to figure it out if they do pop out of that brush, which they will. So there's going to be some pings going down as they notice that the minions are moving.
Yeah, and actually this is very good by TBD. They made sure that they forced 5 members of Coast to go in for that invade on their own red side. So now they can see that, hey, nobody is going to be around that area. There's no wards whatsoever. We can just go in and steal this extremely effectively, which they do.
Daydreaming just took a bunch of damage stuff from Westeros, even with the Doran Shield, Sonic Wave, Resonate Strike combination, just destroying through that Fiddlesticks, which he only has 32 armor, so not too much armor in his runes right now. But either way, they are just going to let Westeros walk all the way back around by the blue side and let him soak up some of that XP with Broken Shard. Charm connects in the mid lane. Level 2 was achieved for Shifter, though, applying a lot of pro with that Orb of Deception, and then just backing right on off.
Yeah, Arthalon's not going to have a good time in this lane early on, especially because Shifter got that much harassment down. He does have a Crystalline Flask and some health potions, but he's got to chug through a lot of them in order to keep himself healthy. Shifter actually has 40 AP at level 2 here, so he's very heavily ruined into dealing damage against Fizz and zoning him out early on before Fizz can rush in and combo against Ahri.
And right now, up top, you're seeing the power of the Dark Winds and Piltover Peacemaker push. It's just so strong. The bounces are so good. While in the bot lane, we have the push going down. The stacks were popped from that Blighted Quiver, and then just threw a Piercing Arrow through it to get more damage on Zion Spartan. But Doran's Shield and Potions are pretty much OP for the 2v1 lane.
Yeah, and actually we had Nintendo in this entire time through his jungle realize that he doesn't have a red buff extremely late, have to just settle for the small camps. He is only level 2 compared to Broken Shard at level 3, who is going to have access to, well, 3 buffs for himself. So Nintendo's coming to defend this lane and just hits level 3, whereas Broken Shard's going to power through and hit level 4 early. He could come up and apply a little bit of relief to Westeros in this top lane, but he has a decent amount of kill potential compared to the Elise that does not, being a level down.
Yeah, Arthalon was putting a lot of pressure onto Shifter here. We do potentially have an initiation coming in. Looks like they're not going to. He's just going to farm up the wave with his partner Westeros there. I thought he was going in, but the Dark Wind kind of stopped their advances quite a bit there, bouncing twice between them and applying that nice little silence. But either way, it's going to be 2v2 up top and 2v2 down bot.
Yeah, and actually Broken Shard's sticking around for a very long time. They know there's a ward in that brush. They tried to take it down, and a backwards combo right there from him. Just looks like they're trying to clear out the wave and relieve some pressure on Westeros, but nothing really all too much. Same thing is exactly going down on the bottom side of the map, though, is Intended waiting patiently in this brush, trying to get a cocoon on the Robert, but unfortunately not going to connect.
No, he's going to actually eat a bunch of harass for that. Forced to repel away from the piercing arrow, but now Zion Sparring going to eat a burn of that damage. Ooh, the power cord didn't go through. Hit a minion instead. Cocoon not going to connect, though, and from Nintendo X, Spiderling going to apply some damage to Robert. Going to throw out that bite on top of Bubba, but not doing a lot of damage, and there is the piercing arrow not to connect. That was a full 3 stacks of Blighted Quiver. That would have done a ton of damage to Nintendo X there. But either way, they are successfully 2v1ing against the Jax Elise, which is really hard.
Yeah, and it's really just because of that jungle presence that they had in the early game. Nintendo still has yet to hit level 4, whereas after this wave, Broken Shard, you see he's hit level 5 in that top lane. So Nintendo extremely far behind in this game, and I'm very surprised to see them prioritize that jungle Elise rather than going for the Jarvan, which Nintendo has won every single game on this coast.
Interesting. So they let TBD get Jarvan instead of Nintendo here, but I guess switching it up is always never a bad thing, you know? Like, sometimes it gets a little boring to play the same champions over and over again. Maybe that's the same rule here, but Elise is one of the stronger junglers in this meta. She scales very well off the HP. She has percentage damage, so doesn't even need to build that much AP. Can just build the lock-in and be that giant frontline that they need, while Charm connects on Arthalon here, who is falling behind in CS by quite a little bit against Shifter.
Well, that's what Fizz is normally going to have happen. He's melee range, so he can't CS and save.
Up top, though, there's a slow coming in. There's the Golden Aegis being applied as well as the slow. The Ignite comes down, and Broken Shard gonna pick up first blood against Daydreaming of Team Coast.
Yeah, and that was just a very interesting play. Daydreaming and Mash Me, they knew Broken Shard left after hitting 5 and having the wave shoved into their turret, but they just pushed back out again without any ward coverage coming down from the side of Daydreaming. So it was a little bit of a misstep on their behalf, and they paid for it with the support's life.
And with that, Broken Shard is going to go back to base fairly rich. As he picks up a Spirit Stone, has 1,000 gold left over, gets Boots and a Doran's Blade, so looking for some early damage.
Yeah, and he's just got a lot of money on him, so he's going to be like, why the heck not? He gets a pink ward, a green ward, and some itemization to continue his path through the jungle. He knows that Doran's Blade, and with Nintendo being as behind as he was, if he runs into him in the enemy jungle, there's no way that Nintendo can duel him.
And speaking of dueling right now, they're going in. Exhaust comes in on Zion Spartan to mitigate all that damage. Cleanse was forced out to get rid of that Ignite. And now it is going to be a leap in, and one more will do it for Zion. He flashes in, gets the kill. Nintendo Dex joining in that party now that the main damage shot is gone. Venomous Bite coming through, but it's going to force a flash at Bubba to keep him safe. And now Westrice, level 5, looking to be a sneaky snake, but decides to go back into the wave, push it down, and get level 6.
And that was a very interesting situation in the bottom lane. Robert and Bubba were doing very well in that lane matchup. Zion Spartan had just gone back. They pushed to the tower and harassing Nintendo. They got a little bit greedy, though. Wanted to maybe try to pick up a kill on Nintendo, and Jax just comes in from the back with a fresh set of items, winds up jumping down and picking up a kill. On top of that, all the summoners are down in that bottom lane for both sides. You've blown 2 on Zion Spartan, but you've also blown 4 on Robert and Bubba.
Yeah, and that flash is going to be crucial. We could see Elise swing back down, but it looks like there's going to be a lane swap initiated here by the side of Mashme and Daydream into 2v2, and send Zion Spartan, who's going to be content with a Doran's Blade, alongside boots, ward, and potions to combat this Westrice, who started with the pickaxe and going towards Ravenous Hydra. We're going to see a mirror-esque build from Inox from last game.
Yeah, and this is very interesting. I'm assuming that the trade comes down from Team Coast because they weren't able to capitalize on that 1v2 top lane, and they drew Broken Shard's attention up there, but they were able to capitalize against the enemy duo lane. So sending Caitlyn down there, this could be an easier tower for them to take because they do have a slight level advantage down here, or experience advantage at least.
Just a minor experience advantage either way. Dragon is being pressured out. The pink ward comes out. They do not actually spot out that ward. The Chum of the Waters lands up top. A nice leap strike coming in to avoid the Sonic Wave from Lee Sin, and he gets out of there at the cost of nothing.
Yeah, he burns the Fizz ultimate. At the same time, Fizz is roamed away from mid lane, so Ahri has shoved that back in the face of Broken Shard. And now that they know that 2 members of TBD were in top lane, this is going to be a dragon for Team Coast. They know Broken Shard was around mid lane. They're going to take this one down and be able to smite it away before he even reacts.
Yeah, and Mashme's looking to pick up an extra 15 gold from that ward. Nintendo Dex dodges away from the piercing arrow, and Zion Spartan successfully defended his turret up top, laying in with that level 6 passive. Right there hit, dealing a bunch of extra damage, but they lost their red buff, which Westrice just counter-jungled away, while Arthlon eats a charm to the face, and eat a little bit of auto-attack damage, and then the Orb of Deception hitting, chunking him down to about a half.
Yeah, and even though TBD are able to get small capitalizing factors off of that, I don't necessarily know if they're going to be able to make it worthwhile, as Westrice burns a flash in top lane, having to jump away from Zion Spartan, even though he had a CS advantage, even though he has technically a more expensive item in the pickaxe, he doesn't have the defensive utilization.
Broken Shard comes in crescendo, Chain of Corruption, and the perfect line of CC to just destroy Mashme through his barrier. That was impressive coordination coming in there.
Yeah, and the chain CC we talked about, level 6 coming out from this dual lane on top of having Broken Shard to lock him down with the Cataclysm. It's a dangerous thing, and there's actually no cleanse from Mashme, which is kind of surprising going up against a Varus Sona combination, but I mean, they're just kind of focusing down on the enemy AD carry, whereas it looks like TBD has been more focusing on their solo laners, so poor Mashme might have more in store.
He flashed in with red buff, applied it to Daydream, and they're not going to give up on this. Actually, they are. Never mind. Dark Winds, and then 2 members coming in from Coast make them turn that right back around while Bubba tanks some turret shots. Snipe's going to come out, and Arthlon's getting bursted in mid, forced to use that playful trick to get away, but he is going to transfer another blue buff over to Shift to refresh that one, while Broken Shard getting caught up on Nintendo Dex on red buff. Going to be transferred over to him, while Robert X. Lee and Bubba are going to be forced to back, so a little over-aggression from the bot lane there. Trap does connect on Robert. Snipe is not available, though. It will force him to walk back a little bit more, but a nice solo kill by Shifter on Arthlon.
And this is what we talked about, the skill matchup in mid lane. Ahri getting a bit of the better of Fizz early on has transitioned to Ahri getting a kill on Fizz after a failed roam from him up top beforehand. We also have seen already some of the pick potential that the side of Team Coast has. TBD, they're going extremely deep, extremely early, and they didn't even really have a lead at that point. So it was just easy pickings for the composition here from Team Coast, is now giving them extra generation of gold. They're going to be waking to look plays here like bot lane.
Yeah, he's going to throw out the cocoon soon, hit the neurotoxin. Actually, I think he missed the cocoon, but never mind, there it goes. Comes in, Venomous Bite. They forced out the flash and the exhaust, but it wasn't enough to stop the damage. Shifter coming in the back line there, throwing in some auto attacks. Mashme needs one more, headshot rock comes out. Double kill for him. And now Broken Shard looking to come in a little bit late with Arthalon, but this tier 1 down bot is going to be going down in a few more auto attacks. I don't think they can 4v2 here unless they are some kind of gods. The Charm interrupts the EQ combination. The Chum the Waters comes out on Daydream, and a Repel from Elise going to keep him safe, and then he Spirit Rushes in, turning on Broken Shard. He's going to sacrifice himself for Arthalon and make that into a overall 3 for none and a tier 1 bot lane going down in favor of Coast.
Well, I'm going to make a...
Is he going to do it?
I don't know.
Curl Storm?
He has it available? It's like, Fizz, burn the Playful Trickster.
All right, he's looking. I see it in his eyes. He wants it. Never mind. Okay, he's in a Dark Wind and just back out.
Well, I'm going to make an analogy to a game that you could probably find on my bookshelf of many old children's books behind me, but it's right now, Coast looks like they're just playing a game of Jenga with to be determined. They pick one piece out of position, and the rest of it just winds up collapsing down after that. They pick up the support Bubba Dub, and they think, for some reason from TBD, they have that help me mentality that Rivington always brings up. As soon as one member gets caught out and goes down, they try to go in and say, well, we're going to capitalize on this now that they've used things. But the rest of Coast filters in, and just really great charms from Shifter, turning that situation around. Not only do they net themselves all those towers as well as one in top lane, but they got, what, 4 kills? 3 kills overall for that.
And a nice ward drill from Zion Spartan, going to keep him safe for a little bit longer. Pops that dodge and gets the stun. The knockup connects. He can't sidestep that one. The Ignite comes down, Flash Force out, and he jukes away with the leap. He's got teammates coming in the back. Crowstorm getting channeled over the wall there to show us that it's a nice Halloween costume skin that's coming back out. Vintage skins on sale soon. But now we have the Repel coming in, and he drops down with the Venomous Bite. Gonna go in onto Westrice. The Crescendo going on to Shifter, though, with the Spirit Rush, and the Ignite gets dropped in. Now they're gonna turn their attention onto Westrice, who's gonna be going through the back there, double warding, and he is not long for this world. Goes in with the Resonating Strike, but gets caught up by a Fear, and the Charm doesn't connect, but Shifter picks up the kill. The Chain of Corruption from Robert X. Lee in the back, gonna knock up, gonna keep 3CC'd, but the Repel over the wall is intended X a little bit far in there. Arthalon gonna get fired up by a ward, and that is gonna be the end of the fight.
It just looks like that both Westrice and Broken Shard at this point, they have a mentality of, we need to make something happen. And instead of just maybe controlling the map and having it come to them, they are trying to force it to happen. They see Jax by himself. Oh, okay, well, we could catch Jax out of position, and we could totally capitalize on that. But the rest of the Coast had recalled from bottom lane, purchased items, gotten back into lane, and, well, it was just that same mentality. They just all wind up going in, and one by one just wind up falling apart. Whereas Team Coast is playing a little bit more organized. Yeah, they do have people getting caught out of position, but they have escapes on them. Elise can repel. We have Shifter being able to pop his ultimate. Zion Spartan can leap and jump away from that. They just are collapsing down and playing the game a little bit more communicatively better as a team than what TBD is doing right now.
Yeah, and with that, we have Blue Buff going over the Shifter. We have everybody pushing down and just waiting to see which tier 2 turret is going to get focused first. The top one is down, mid is still available, and bot is still available. So we'll see what Zion Spartan decides to do, as he's probably just going to keep split pushing against Westrice, who does drop a ward, but is spotted out by the whole line of wards that we did see Daydream in place. He does get hit on by that the Sonic Wave. Not going to do a Resonating Strike, as Westrice cannot win this 1v1 at this point. He does not have Hydra yet. But the Dragon did spawn. It is live, and it will go in favor of Coast.
In the meantime, this duel in the top lane, Zion Spartan has the pieces he needs to wind up winning it. The Sheen procs and the Phage just giving him enough to able to trade out with Westrice, and the auto attack resets and lifesteal from that Tiamat kept Westrice kind of in that trade and actually forced Zion Spartan back. I'm a little surprised by that.
Arthalon just used Playful Trickster right there. It looks like Daydreamin gonna throw out the Crow, gonna probably try to steal away this big golem, which he does. Win himself some nice XP and a level up. Cocoon connects. Are they gonna do anything with this? Charm connects as well. The chain of CC from Coast. Just phenomenal. Looking at top form right now. Like that last gank in the bot lane from Broken Shard, though. But that was the only time we've seen it, as they're gonna look to try to go into Robert X. Lee. He cleanses away from the Cocoon. The Charm connects either way. The effect of the talent of the Mastery Point for Cleanse, keeping effect from that Charm and mitigating that duration by quite a lot there and keeping him alive just barely.
Well, improved cleanse saves Robert's life just barely in that one, but it does by having him burn his flash in response. So 2 summoners down on the AD. They pick up a kill on Fizz, and Arthalon, unfortunately, just keeps using the Playful Trickster.
Oh my god, Charm, Fear, Cocoon, everything! Shifter on a rampage. These charms are 100% hitting all the time. Wow, the chain of CC from this comp is going really well for Coast. While the wards go over the wall, Westrice is going to look to be chased down here, as we do have Shifter just looking to push the wave instead, and Nintendo X looks to be on the hunt.
Yeah, the chain CC coming out from Team Coast is just absolutely insane. We talked about it in the Champion Select. They have a ridiculous amount of pick potential coming out from the composition. And, well, if you just wind up getting one out of position, then you're going to wind up pressing objectives. They have to be forced to defend on the side of TBD, and they're just walking into these amazing charms coming out from Shifter. Nintendo Dex, he's had some pretty good cocoons, but even he's missed some of these. I don't think I've seen Shifter miss a charm since level 2.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I'm just saying it because it looks cool. But either way, he's going to drop another charm and just destroy Bubba. Either way, they're chasing on Arthlon now. He's Lichbane. He's trying to get away. He's going to playful Trickster. Not over that wall, though, as he does go right on through. Slipe comes out, and that's the end for Arthlon. That fish is dead. As we have Zion Spartan doing the Zion Spartan thing and just pushing down top lane. Even his teacher told him to push, but now he gets kicked back in to the base and is going to look to try to fight this one out. Pops the ulti, gets ignited, has the dodge available to himself. The piercing arrow does not connect. He ward jumps right over the wall. Looking Lee Sin as the flash flagging drag from Broken Shark going to come in and shut down this Zion Spartan as Westroyce picks up the kill. And in the mid lane, tier 1 almost dead and possibly going to go down. There's a cross over the wall. He's going to look to get the fear potentially as the chain of corruption comes out. The silence comes out, but the fear connects on the Bubba. Charm connects on the Broken Shutter, comes in the back line. Is going to get blown up by Nintendo Dex and crew. And that is going to be an inhibitor turret dead in the mid lane.
That is so much that they used just to kill Zion Spartan from Jax because he was threatening inhibitor turret in the top lane. The rest of Coast gets inhibitor turret in the mid lane, and then they have to walk into that chain CC without their ultimates, without the abilities they need to take them down in a kind of haphazard defense right there. Unfortunately, Broken Shard, he's been the target of a lot of these charms. He's got 4 deaths right now for TBD, so he might have picked up first blood in that 1v2 situation up top, but since then, no real motion has been generated by this Jungle Jarvan acquisition.
Yeah, and oh my god, just the CC chain from the side of Coast. They're sticking as a 4-man pod and just throwing out everything at the same time. And now Bubba with an Oracle is going to try to take control of his jungle once again, which he only has to clear out 1 more red side, but 2 blue side, and then they will have full control. Well, Baron looks to be possibly the next objective here for Coast. We have an Oracle's on Daydream, and he's got pink wards, he's got greens, he's got that Sight Stone, and is going to take control of blue side.
Yeah, and well, now it's just on it's on Coast, other LCS team here, to make a mistake for TBD to really get back into this one. But it looks like by moving around as a group, they're trying to minimize the mistakes they have.
Charm, DFG, and 1 shot. The life of an AD carry versus an RA.
Shifter's just on point right now. He is looking fantastic, be it in this game where he's playing Ahri, or be it in the past games with Team Coast, where he's been breaking out things such as LeBlanc. Just these characters that can one-shot and assassinate a crucial member of the enemy team. He just does not miss on those.
He's 6-0-4 right now, looking so strong. Zion Spartan has the turning day 4 stun. He is just laying into this inhibitor now. And it looks like we're going to see them push another lane or pressure Baron and get that one for the team, which it looks like Baron is going to be their goal.
Well, you said that Complexity had mentioned previously in a tweet that they'd never lost a scrim, or they haven't lost a scrim in a long time as badly as they did to Coast just prior to this game. So if in their warm-up they were taking the fight to Complexity, who is the other undefeated team in the NACL, just this pure display of brawn that they have right now against a to-be-determined roster that has already qualified for the promotion tournament just goes to show that the caliber of a what was second place LCS team in the spring split has transitioned extremely well here, despite being on the bottom half of that of the LCS tournament beforehand in the summer split. They show that, hey, it wasn't us, it was just the competition is that fierce.
Competition for everybody is fierce now as all the challenger scene is booming and looking good with life. We are going to see as Coast is going to push down this mid lane, just stands to dodge away from the Sonic Wave. Daydream has Crowstorm, he has Flash, he will look to do that over that wall possibly. He has 3 clears out the ward. He's getting in position to look to channel it. Chum the Water is not connecting. I'm watching Daydream right now. He's waiting for it. He's fidgeting back and forth. The Flash Crescendo comes out. Only connected his last one. There's a Crowstorm coming in. Chain of Corruption keeping 4 back. He's in a zone away with that Crowstorm, and nobody wants to go near him. The 3-second fear is way too much to deal with, and that will be a second inhibitor. Cocoon Connect's Charm is going to finally miss for Shifter, as he just threw it out there. Piercing Arrow. We saw Arthlon drop a bit of damage on Zion Spartan, while that inhibitor is going to go down.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. The only ultimate that was burned from the side of Coast was the Fiddlesticks ultimate, which is pretty much the biggest cooldown on their side. Whereas from TBD, they used everything except for the Jarvan Cataclysm and, well, the Lee Sin kick as well, in order to disengage them from the tower that wound up going down anyway. They lose the inhibitor because they have no fight in them, and they're facing a Baroned up team that are about 12,000 gold ahead of them right now. The scoreboard really says it all right here. 14 kills to 3. Coast is just absolutely dominating this matchup despite giving away that first blood. They focused down on having their solo laner be strong rather than their AD carry, and after their mid lane was able to roam around in combination with their jungler, the AD carry just picked up kills in response to the movements that they were making as a team.
And right now the movement is going to be getting buffs and taking control of everything like they have been, and the tier 3 the inhibitor turret in the bot lane is the only thing that stands between them and double supermains in lane. That mid inhibitor is going to be spawning soon in the next few minutes, as it did fall down a little while ago. But still, is Coast still baroned up? They are. They have about half the duration left, and we will be seeing if they put it to use.
Well, now we have Team Coast just making sure that there's nothing left open for TBD in order to try to get traction back in this game, taking their own buffs, invading into the jungle. Just look at the blue side jungle wards coming out from the side of Team Coast. Everything is lit up like a Christmas tree or something. And now we actually have Zion Spartan moving down into the bottom lane. He has some wards of his own that he's placing, and he's going to be able to push that forward as the team just kind of groups up around him. Every single lane, save for the top lane, which is pushing back a little bit now, is moving towards TBD's base. They're going to be holed up in there while Coast just dominates the map, and unless they can take a fight on or outside one of their towers, it's looking a little bit bleak for them.
It looks like they're trying to take a fight right now. They're all grouped up in one little square, and Westrice goes in. Chain of Corruption not going to connect. That was probably their one and only hope to try and catch a 5-man chain, and a crescendo with that to follow up. That was a very tense moment, but it did not connect for TBD there, and now Coast are going to suffocate them in the base, as well as let the super minions do their thing.
They're sitting there and patiently waiting, and over the wall, a charm!
Oh, snipe! The Playful Trickster goes over the snipe and does not block it for Bubba Dub. As now Shifter going into the base, flashing, dropping the DFG, not connecting though. Chumble Waters misses as well. And that is going to be Inhibitor Turret going down as well as an Inhibitor. And now TBD, I don't know what they can do to defend this. Flash Spear coming in, Charm not going to connect. Cocoon comes out, and that is a dead Varus. Robert X Lee before he can even cleanse, getting blown up in a double kill for support. Fiddlesticks, the GG comes out, Crow storming the turrets for some style. And Charm connects on a Westerise, he's not going to die. Yeah, maybe he will actually. Never mind, he lived.
The surrender vote comes out, and Coast in another dominating performance shows why they're one of the 2 undefeated teams here in the NACL by taking a convincing victory here over their opponents in to be determined. And they started out strong. Westerise and Broken Shard looked to have some synergy in that top lane and look to maybe be coming back from a 2v1 situation. Against a Caitlyn Fiddlesticks, it's very hard to turn that around when you're a solo laner, let alone even if you just have some jungle support where they had wards and knew that he was in the area. TBD, unfortunately, a lot of their problems, I think, seem to stem from Robert. Like we said, Varus was one of his weaker AD carries that he even personally said was his weakest AD carry. Arthalon didn't necessarily look as comfortable on Fizz as we've seen him in the past on some different champions, such as Gragas, which had been banned out here against him. So playing a little bit outside their comfort zones, TBD, they kind of showed it a bit. They overcommitted and unfortunately weren't able to capitalize on anything they wound up diving deep for, whereas the chain CC coming out from Team Coast were just able to decimate any mistakes that they made.
Yeah, and with that, guys, we're going to get ready for the 5th and final game of tonight. It's GGLA going up against Complexity in one of the hype matches, one of the most hype matches for tonight. And we're going to go to a quick commercial break as well as some music. So we're going to get that game ready for you guys and be right back.